Good Baltimore morning. My name is Kira Wisniewski, and I have the distinct honor and pleasure of being the host and co-organizer of Creative Mornings Baltimore. Welcome. We're so excited to be coming to you again live from Adorned Vintage Furniture in Mount Vernon, right here in our fair city of Baltimore. I do want to acknowledge that we are on Piscataway land, and thank you so much for being here. Before we get really started, though, I just want to say Black lives continue to matter. Creative Mornings Baltimore is one of over 200 chapters globally, and we are one of over, dozens of events happening worldwide today. We're so glad that you could join us this morning. We are also excited to be offering ASL, courtesy of our friends over at HASA. Our ASL underwriter is Eddie's of Roland Park. Eddie's of Roland Park, where there's no such thing as no snacks after dark, with game day and podcast listening favorites currently on special, including Eddie's made-in-house spinach dip, local Roma Italian sausage, and family-size I said that weird, I'm sorry, potato chips. I said oots, I don't know, I'm sorry, it's early. Details at eddiesofrolandpark.com. So I know we're deep in this pandemic. What is time? I don't know, but we're over it. Yes, I agree. I'm with you. But what I want to do right now is give you permission to give yourself permission to be here fully present for like the next 45 minutes or so. I know it's super tempting to just do some multitasking and do a little email here and there, but give yourself the space to be here. You deserve it. We want you to be here, and thank you for being here. And again, we know that there's a lot of screen time, so we appreciate and see you, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we know that this can't replace that in real life experience, but hopefully being here with us this morning, you still feel part of this community. So again, thank you so much. And whether you're joining us on YouTube or Facebook, you know that you can just type your comments right there in the chat, and we'll be able to see what you have to say. And I want to welcome and thank Anita, who is joining us over on YouTube. Hey, Anita. She is there to talk to you in YouTube and engage with you in the chat. So thank you so much for joining us once again, Anita. And now it is time for our Creative Mornings Manifesto. So every month we like to invite somebody special to our community to be able to share the manifesto with us. This month we're really excited to be featuring Alyssa from HASA. ASL and HASA is something that we've been really grateful to be working with since our last in-person event, which was in February of 2020 with Jess Solomon. And we're so thankful and lucky to be working with HASA through the pandemic to be able to make our events more accessible. Because if we're truly gonna live up to our mantra of everyone is invited and everyone is creative, we need to do our best to continually be more accessible. So with that, I will let Alyssa take it away.
Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. Creative Mornings Baltimore is really run on an engine of generosity by people and companies that give a damn. We are completely volunteer run, and I want to give a special shout out to our volunteers, Mario, Winston, Henley, Sean, Anita, April, Erlene. You all make it happen, so thank you so much for being here. Also, this is where we will highlight our partners who have been sustaining us. I have these fancy little hand signs, courtesy of one of our sustaining partners, Alpha Graphics. Hey, analog signs, fun. So now I'm just gonna read through them. So we have White Tea Co. over in Whitehall Mill. Get that fireside fig, y'all. You won't regret it. Pixelated Photo Booth, who have been doing some really interesting things in the pandemic, so definitely check that out. Our fiscal sponsor, Maryland Art Place. Local color flowers, working with flower farmers within 100 miles of Baltimore. Love them, love them. You can see them, I think, yeah, right behind me. Hey. Impact Hub Baltimore. We also have HASA, who of course we just celebrated, but shout out to them. Eddie's of Roland Park, get those snacks after dark. Adorn Vintage Furniture, where we are right now. You could typically buy the chair that I'm sitting on right now, but it's already sold, so I'm sorry. But there's other furniture here that you can purchase. They're open every Saturday right here in Mount Vernon at 10 o'clock, so check it out. And then, of course, shout out to our global sponsors, Skillshare and MailChimp. Yeah! So we are putting in the chat right now. You can also check out on our website all the sustaining partners that we've been lucky enough to work with since the beginning of the reboot in 2019. Okay. So this month's theme, Dare, from Creative Mornings Porto Alegre in Brazil. They chose the theme of September's Dare, and it's illustrated by Mitty Metacone. So shout out to Brazil. All right. So, why we are here. I have the privilege now to introduce this month's speaker. Aaron Dante is the host and creator of No Picks After Dark podcast. He started his passion project in 2019 because he wanted to tell human interest stories that mainstream media potentially weren't covering, but that everyday people could relate to. He's been awarded Baltimore Magazine Reader's Choice Best of Baltimore Podcast in 2020 and Baltimore Sun Reader Choice Best of Baltimore Podcast in 2020 and 2021. This Baltimore native is a Syracuse University graduate and currently calls Watherson neighborhood home. Please help me welcome Aaron Dante to the Creative Mornings.
Thank you, Creative Mornings, for having me on the show. Again, my name is Aaron Dante. I'm the host of the No Picks After Dark podcast. I am so excited to be here with you today. When they reached out to me and said, use the word dare, a couple of thoughts came to my mind. Should I play Truth or Dare? And I didn't want the woke audience or the council audience coming after me. So I said, let me leave that alone. And then I thought about Dare, the failed thing that the government had for drugs back in the day in the 80s. If you remember that, that was a failed program. We don't want to talk about it either. So, Dare. Let's talk about Dare. What does that mean to you? It can mean a lot of things for everybody. But I'm going to tell you the meaning for me. So I'm going to take you on the Aaron Dante experience, and you'll learn a little bit about me. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1980 to two amazing parents, born at Sinai Hospital. Growing up, all I knew was my family. My family were my friends. Any sporting event, my whole family came. My dad had 10 siblings. My mom had 4 siblings. So everywhere I went, my family came with us. So we fast forward to 1989. In June of 1989, I'm about to turn 9 years old. And my parents come up to me and say, we're going to move to Youngstown, Ohio. And I'm like, Youngstown, Ohio? Wow. Where is that? So I ran to my room and got the globe and spun it around. Oh, there it is, Youngstown, Ohio. I was so excited as a kid because I got to go and go somewhere. I said, is the family coming with us? No, the family's not coming with us. So again, it was heartache because we didn't know, it was unknown. And my parents said, we're going to go on a leap of faith. It's for our family, for the best of our family, and challenge ourselves and get better opportunities. My dad was the first black chief of police at the university, at Youngstown State University. And again, he took that leap of faith and that challenge, that dare, to be the first. About 18 months later, in December of 1980, my parents came to me again and said, hey, we want to move to Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas. All right, let me go get my globe again. Because what you young people don't know is there was no Google. There's barely Encarta. If you know about Encarta, you know you're an 80s baby. And I was thinking, wow, I feel like my family's like the Oregon Trail, but hopefully our axes don't break on us. So we moved to Dallas, Texas. And the only thing I knew about Dallas was who shot JR. If you got that joke, you'll get it for 80s baby. So we moved to Dallas, Texas. And again, picking up again, meeting all new people, having all new friends, and you're learning how life works. The hardest part was I was in 5th grade at that time. And I remember I tested for the school, and they said, you're not at 5th grade level, you're at the 4th grade level. The curriculum was different from Ohio than what you learned than in Dallas. I was faced with one of the biggest decisions of my life at 10 years old. Can you imagine somebody telling you you gotta go back a year or you can stay in the same grade? And the principal said to me, you can stay and we'll help you get tutors. We'll help you do double the work to get to where you have to get. My parents said it's on you. Now, to rewind a little bit back about what I said about my family, how my family was very important to me. I was one of the 3 kids that were my cousins that we all were born the same year. I was born in June, the other one was born in August, the other one was born in November. And we all decided when we grew up, we were all gonna go to California when we got out of high school. California dreaming, the beaches, why not? But I didn't want to hold off. I didn't want to be that one that said we couldn't go because I was a year behind. And it was just really heartbreaking for me to figure out what I wanted to do. And there again, here's another daring challenge in life. What do you do as a kid? What do you think I did? I know, you think about that. At that point, you're like, there's no internet. Nobody knows about what's going on in your life in Dallas. You just got it's a phone call. So what I decided to do after I prayed on it is I stayed back 4th grade. And I wanted to be a kid. I wanted to enjoy life. Because look at the world today. I never want to grow up. I always want to be like a Toys R Us kid. But hey, I stayed back and it was one of the best decisions of my life. And what we say about that now is called redshirting. I think I was a bit ahead of the curve. Because most parents now, they hold their kids back. And they can be the tallest, the strongest, the smartest. And that's what they do now, redshirting kids. So your kid's a little bit older and maybe they say a little bit wiser. So again, I'm happy I did that. In 1993, in December again, so that you guys can see that's my Christmas present every year, every other year or so, to move. My parents decided to move us to Syracuse, New York. And they're like, we're coming back east. We're going back closer to family. And how exciting that was. I was like, Syracuse, okay, can't wait to go. But the thing about Syracuse is, when I grew up in Baltimore, the school I always wanted to go to was Georgetown. And Georgetown was a hated rival of Syracuse. And I never liked Syracuse University. I never did. But we were moving to this place. And my dad said, you'll enjoy it, trust me. 1999. For their sophomore year. So again, I took on that challenge. In 2002, I had to get an internship for college. And that was the big thing, was you had a graduate internship. And if you didn't get the internship, then it'd be one of those things where you would have to figure out what you're going to do, or can you graduate?
Should we pause? Yeah.
Oh, so hold
Sorry.
on a second.
Yeah.
My mic is not
Oh,
hitting,
it's
yes?
back. It says it's back. Okay. Sounds back.
How far back was I? How far back was I?
Let's. You
Okay.
just keep rolling.
No
Keep
way,
rolling.
flow.
We're back. We're back.
Ebbs and flow. So, 2002, I had to get an internship for college and to graduate. And I wanted to make sure that I got the right place to go. I guess we're going to share a mic now. Okay. Let's go.
Hey.
Rolling with it.
We ad-lib. We ad-lib here.
Rolling with it.
I'll just talk just like this. How about that?
Yeah.
I'll talk like this. So,
Why I'm crawling around. She's just
why are you crawling? Why are you crawling around? Hey, this is how we roll.
Heck.
All right, this is how we roll.
Y'all, thank you, and sorry.
What else like before we did this? Coolers on the other side of the pillow. We don't.
She did not. She knocked on the wrong wood.
We don't worry about it. We don't even worry about it. So in 2002, again, I was getting an internship, looking for an internship to graduate from college. And I applied to several different jobs in Texas Corner, Washington, D.C., in New York City. And I remember I had a meeting with a Fortune 500 CEO, and we had lunch, and he was like, hey, I want you to work for my company. Here's my card. I said, no, I don't want your card. And you're probably thinking out there, you don't want a Fortune 500 CEO's card. I was like, no, because how many cards a day does he give out to people? I said, here's this piece of paper. Write down your email address and your phone number, and you'll remember me, because you will always remember what you wrote down. And he looked at me and said, you'll be my employee, I guarantee you. So, give you a little background on that. So, I, again, got offered a job for that company for internship. I really didn't want to go there at first. And I was like, I don't want to do it. This is not what I want to do. On my way out for spring break, they called me and said, hey, we need another decision. Because I was waiting on Manhattan, D.C., Tyson's Corner, the flashy things. And they said, we need to know by the time you get back. When I got back from spring break, I called them and said, dare to be different and dare to be the first Syracuse University student to be an internship with this company. And I did it. Always happens the next day, everybody calls and says, hey, you're accepted to the program. But I was loyal. I was loyal to this company for 13 years of my life. I'll never forget it. In 2003, I graduated from Syracuse University. And now you're probably wondering, the No Pics After Dark name, where does that come from? Well, now you're about to hear it. So, back in the day, when before your cell phone cameras and things of that nature, we had disposable cameras where you would go to Walgreens, CVS, take your photos and drop them off. Some of you young kids probably don't even know about that. But you had to wait 2 hours or 3 hours or wait 2 days to get those photos back. And I remember we would have these parties. And we would have a big party and everybody would take all these crazy pictures. And then we would all look at them the next day. Just so happened, one of those photos had one of my friends making out with a girl that he shouldn't have been making out with. And it wasn't his girlfriend. Guess what? No Pics After Dark was born right then and there. So guess what? That's where the name comes from. And that No Pics After Dark party has gone on for 10 years straight. So the name has always been there, folks. You just didn't know. Now you know. If you want to go a little bit more depth about the No Pics name, check out the podcast. You can learn a little bit more about that. So, in 2005, another opportunity that was presented to me was I could be able to be an owner of my own house at 25 years old. I wanted to stay in Manhattan. I mean, y'all saw in Jersey and party because I lived in Jersey at the time. But I took that challenge and dare to be 25 years old to owning my own house and have my own responsibilities. And I really am excited that I did that because it prepared me again for life. And little did I know, my parents had prepared me all throughout this time. Life a little bit, and we're going to speed up to 2019. And that's when my first son was born. But 2018 was born. His dad. So often in black families that we have so many people who are great storytellers, but when they die, the story dies with them. And I wanted to keep the legacy of my friends to keep on going on and on. So they said, so when his friends or then my great grandkids, or maybe, oh wow, my grandpa was a pretty cool dude. You heard that story about him and his friends. So we decided to take this journey. I reached out to many of my Syracuse alumni from SI Newhouse. Shout out to you guys. You know I had to shout you out. And they asked them, what kind of equipment do I need? What type of things do I need to be successful? I'm worried about likes. I'm worried about who's following me. I'm like, I made it too far to think about the likes and things of that nature for social media. I want to keep on doing my thing. And I remember a listener came to me and said, Aaron, my high school daughter sat and listened to the podcast, and she really thought your podcast was amazing. And at that point, I was like, you know what? I want to keep on pushing and make it happen. We fast forwarded to right before 2020, December 2019. December is really one of the favorite months of mine, all my stories. And I sat down with a group of friends and I said, hey, I'm going to go all out in 2020. I want to make it happen. We're going to be winners. I want this podcast to be known by everybody in Baltimore and beyond. Let's go all out. And they said, hey, make it happen. At that point, I reached out to one of my cousins who lives in Arizona. He was a graphic design artist. He was like, improve your logo. Make your logo better. I reached out to a place called Millennial Marketing. And I said, what do you think about my Instagram? And you know what she's telling me? Your Instagram sucks. And I said, thank you. I appreciate it. But you know what? I took that risk and took that and ran with it. And learned, she said, the product is you. You are No Pics After Dark. They want to see who you are. So from there, I got that advice, got a website. And little did we know as a world, in January, we hear about this thing called COVID. And we're like, I don't know about this thing, but it won't ever come over here. We're not worried about it. And my coworker says, hey, I'm going to nominate you for Best of Baltimore for Baltimore Sun's podcast. As a joke. I said, sure, why not? I'm not into that stuff, but we'll see. Next thing I know, we're out of work for COVID for the next year and a half working from home. Still working from home right now. And lo and behold, I win the Best of Baltimore for Baltimore Sun for 2020. And I couldn't believe it. I cried happy tears and danced around my neighborhood. And my neighbors looked at me like, is he on drugs today? No. But it was fun because they were like, it was just really exciting because it was just something that has been achieved. I remember, hey, you got to do it while it's hot. You got to keep it. When people are on you, you got to keep on doing it. So I went out and had an email listserv already. And I emailed all my friends and said, hey, I'm coming out with some merch. Let's do it. And use a local artist to do my merch, to my T-shirt. Sold 300 T-shirts in 3 days. Let's talk about that. At $28 a pop, we're not talking about the shipping and handling. That goes up to $35. And guess what? They paid it all. And it was a great feeling that people wanted to buy into what I was talking about. And you may ask, okay, I never heard of this podcast. Well, the podcast is all about positivity. It's all about people going through adverse. And I want to say also, Northeast Baltimore, where I live, St. Walterson, off the Hartford Road corridor, those neighbors, the Hartford Road Happy Hour, those are neighbors who really backed me and were behind me. I said, hey, whatever you want to do, let's make it happen. Even when I first started, they were like, what's a podcast? And this is only in 2019, folks. Think about that. So, again, I want to give them a shout out because without them, they were really supportive behind the scenes, supporting the podcast. So, we pushed into still 2020, and I went Best of Baltimore for Baltimore Magazine. Wow. I don't even read that magazine, but that's cool. I won again. That's what's up. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I'll take the accolades, but it was really cool to win another award. And at that point, friends were like, you have something. We know you have something. Keep pushing. And as my grandmother, who's passed away, always would do, she would gnarl on a bone and never leave any meat on the bone. That's my motto. Never leave meat on the bone. Always work. Always keep on pushing because you don't want to have regret in your life. We're rolling.
Sabina, can you switch gears?
It's all
We'll
good.
just keep doing that.
We're rolling. It's all good. We go with the flow. So in 2000, at the end of 2021, a group called Charm City Craft Mafia reached out to me. And they said, we love your podcast so much. Can we sponsor your show? And if you know the Charm City Craft Mafia, they're known all over the city. And it was surprising. I was like, they want this black podcaster to sponsor your sponsor? Wow. What? I was blown away. And I said, let's do it. And from that point on, after they sponsored me, then Zeke's Coffee sponsored me. NDO Wellness sponsored me. Maggie's Farm sponsored me. And it was a snowball effect. Everybody wanted to be on the No Pics After Dark podcast. Hey. And that was all about those sponsors helping out. So now I wasn't losing money. I was gaining some money. So I totally appreciate to all those sponsors out there who helped me out. We moved to 2021, and I'm having the presidents and of CEOs of Live Baltimore, Visit Baltimore come on the show. I remember I get a call from Visit Baltimore saying, hey, we want to work with you. You have something special, and we want to work with you. And I said, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And it was one of those things where they said, you are the person who do all the work. We'll sit back. And I remember talking to him every Wednesday. And it was just like, wow, this is intense. But I loved working with them because they showed me the corporate side of how doing corporate things. During that process, I ended up winning Best of Baltimore again for 2021 for Baltimore Sun, folks. So, I mean, it's crazy at this point. And during this process, I ended up meeting Guinness Brewery. And Guinness they had a thing called the Allyship. And they wanted me to do a podcast on that. And it was a great experience. And I want to shout out to those guys for helping me out and working with them. So I worked with Guinness also. I get another t-shirt made from another designer, Annie Howe Paper Cuts. If you know who she is in Baltimore, you better know. Again, sold another 300 shirts. Another 300 shirts. And it's just people love the podcast and they love what the story is telling. And I really appreciate that the people are out there supporting and they know what's going on. Because guess what? Anybody can listen to negative stuff all day. Let's give us a little positive spin on it. Again, I win again and find out I win Best of Baltimore for Baltimore Magazine again.
Hey.
Again, it's back to back like Drake said. I'll play that song over and over all day long. And I just wanted to say thank you to all the listeners out there and all the new listeners who may not know me. But again, it's all about telling positivity and leaving no meat on the bone and marketing yourself. And that's what it's all about. Dare to dream big. Dare to be somebody different. Dare to be unique. Don't care. Stand out from everybody else. And my parents installed that in front of me and my family from a young age. And they prepared me for these dares in life as I am right now. And I appreciate Creative Mornings for giving me the time to talk about the word dare. And the last thing I'm going to say to everybody out there, for all you entrepreneurs, you podcasters out there also, is the price of yesterday is not the price of today. So if somebody wants to tell you they're going to give you a price for yesterday, tell them I can walk away. I don't need that. That quote's from Fat Joe the Rapper. That's what it's all about. The price of yesterday is not the price of today. Remember that. Know your worth. Thank you, Creative Mornings.
Should we share this
Yeah,
mic?
we'll share it.
Let me
Okay.
try this
We're
guy.
gonna-
We'll share it. It's all good.
Y'all,
Let's see. Let's
I'm sorry about the mic situation. I saw your chats. Aaron, thank you for being a professional. Thank you for
What
your.
they said in the chat.
Well, when the sound was going out.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry to all of you. But thank you for sticking with us and being here and staying here and listening to all these gems. These just like little gems.
push.
We are now entering our Q&A part. So if you have a question, Aaron, and then we can go from there. So please go ahead, get those questions started. I'll start though. But thank you again. It's so great to hear your story and hear like all the great work that you're doing. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what I understand is you got some pop-ups coming up.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me out in the world? Okay. I got some pop-ups coming up, and what's that's going to be, and this is exclusive right here on Creative Mornings, about to hear. I'll be doing some pop-ups in the city. It'll be an intimate setting with creators in Baltimore City, and it's one of those things where it's on an invite list only. Ooh. And it's going to be intimate because we want people to be enjoying it and really want to be there. And we'll have creators from all over the Baltimore City and beyond, and they'll be in different places in the city. So I can't tell you where and when. That's why you got to sign up for the email listserv, and you get emailed, and you'll find out when the pop-up's up, because the first 20 people who accept, then they'll be going to it.
I love that. I love it. So sign up, y'all.
Which camera are we at?
We're on this camera.
Okay.
Yeah. So going to the theme and your talk a little bit.
Try that one.
Oh, okay. Hey,
Try that.
let's try. This one's dead to us.
Let me do
Okay.
this one.
Hey.
This will go to the white radio.
So going to the theme and your talk, it was really exciting to hear about all the times that you were daring yourself, that your parents instilled that kind of daringness into you. Does daring ever get easier?
it gets easier because you were trained this for your whole entire life. Give you an example. You know, one of the things I look at is when a company wants to say a price to you. You say, hey, this is my price. It's cool. You know, I'm going to grow with it. I'm not afraid of it. You know, if you don't want to work with me, I know a lot of other people want to work with you because I have a great positive message about Baltimore. And people, again, the shirts, the merch I'm selling, that's proof in the pudding that so it doesn't make me nervous anymore. I just go with the flow. I think my parents built me for this time. And I'm very appreciative of that, of my family as a whole.
I love that. It makes me think though of like related on the flip of that. I mean, it's so exciting and inspiring to hear about how all these dares you took on yourself, how they succeeded. Were there any dares that maybe there were some lessons learned that weren't always a home run? Like kind of any lessons to share?
I mean, the world's never peaches and cream.
Sure.
But one thing is, you know, you learn the business side of things. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really know the business side of media. I didn't really understand the business side of how to do more of like proposals. Those are things that, hey, I need a proposal by tomorrow. And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. how do I even start? Or I need a lawyer now. Or where's that? A lawyer? Like a lawyer? I need a lawyer for an agreement. So those type of things that now I'm learning. So everything's not home run, but you know, we try and we learn every day.
Definitely. So, okay, we're going to pop it over to Charlotte, who's joining us from YouTube. She says, this was excellent. Question for Aaron. How to stay motivated and energized to keep going and innovating and building your legacy, especially on days when, we just want to rest. Hello, pandemic.
So, Charlotte, thank you for tuning in, first of all. I really appreciate where's she tuning in from?
Baltimore.
Okay. Hey, well, it's cool. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you listening, and I hope you tune into the pod. I stay motivated. I stay motivated every day. I have 2 little kids. Every day I wake up, I look at them, and that motivates me right there. That pushes me every day. You know, my family. I have a big family. We had 3 convenience stores in Baltimore City. Every summer, I came back from 13 to 18, worked at my family store on Park Heights. I sold Newports to MD 2020. I mean, it is what it is. And I remember my uncles would leave me in the store by myself. I'm working with independent food stamps. I was already built for it. It's just now, you just don't give up. And like I said in the speech, don't leave any meat on the bone. You keep on pushing yourself. Because the moment you quit, stop, that's the moment you give up in life. I'm not here to give up. I'm here to push, motivate, and be successful. Is my mic going out?
Is that better? Everyone?
Is that better?
I hear you.
Okay. All right. So I hope that answers your question, Ms. Charlotte.
All right. So then our next question goes to Dr. Alana Nicole, joining us from YouTube, former speaker. She is asking, do you think everyone has what it takes to start a podcast?
You know, anybody can start a podcast. Anybody can. You can just pick up your cell phone and start recording. That's simple. And you can put it to Anchor, and you can put it on Anchor, and then therefore it's on there and it's recorded. A good podcast, that's 2 different things. That's 2 different things. Anybody can do a podcast, but it's about kind of like the question Charlie asked before. How do you stay motivated to do it? My podcast comes out every Monday at 8 a.m. If it doesn't come out at 8 a.m., I have about 15 text messages. Where's your podcast? So you get to build that. You get to build the trust in the audience. The audience has to follow you. So you have to be motivated. It's not easy. It's not easy sitting up there at 10, 11 o'clock at night editing by yourself and looking at sound and everything else. So anybody can do it, but can they do it good? Anybody can ride a bike, but are you good at riding a bike? Anybody can run, but are you a good runner? So that related back to life. That's how I look at it.
So keep those questions coming, y'all. Again, you can type them directly into the chat on either Facebook or YouTube, and then we can pop them up here on the screen. So please keep them coming. But kind of jumping off of that question from Dr. Alana, how did you learn about recording and sound and editing and all of that?
So I had a $600 lesson about sound. I remember when I first started the show podcast, I didn't know anything about sound. I didn't know anything about any podcasting whatsoever. I just took it upon myself to ask some friends about podcasting. And it was all about the pod, like just learning from sound to, and again, I had a guy who was editing my stuff, but it wasn't great. And I had to take it upon myself with another Syracuse grad who said, hey, I'm going to teach you a boot camp on sound, and we're going to sit here for an hour and learn sound and learn how to sound. Because guess what? Sound is the sweetest thing in your ear when you listen to podcasts. And if your sound's messed up, you're going to turn it right off. And that's how I look at it. So you got to learn that. And I teach a class on that, actually, on Podcasting 101.
Oh, nice.
And I teach people how, again, podcasting, is this something you really want to do? Is this a commitment? Do you know how much money you want to spend on equipment? You can do an iPhone. You can buy an interface. There's so many things you can spend up to $1,000 to $1,500 to $2,000 on equipment for good mics and things of that nature. So it's all about what you want.
Yeah, definitely. Our next question comes from Molly, who's joining us over on Facebook. She's asking, hey, Aaron, how do you envision and dare to make No Picks After Dark impact Baltimore, the country, the world?
What's up, Molly? I'm working on that right now as we speak. I'm actually another exclusive. I'm actually pivoting a little bit from Baltimore. I am going to keep a Baltimore theme. It's going to stay with Baltimore, but I got to expand my audience. I got to expand where I'm going to be going. So in Baltimore, got to go to D.C., go to Philly. I have interviews a lot of Philly and D.C. right now as we speak. I have interviews in New York. And if you listen to my podcast, I have people from all over the United States. I sprinkle them in to get those audiences. And that's why, give you an example, I had a sponsor from Texas that paid to be on a sponsor for the show. So it's reaching somewhere, and the CEO of the company was in Italy, and they found No Picks After Dark podcast, and they wanted to put money behind it. So it's hitting somewhere. People are listening, and it's all about those connections. It's all about those avenues. It's all about the business side of things, marketing yourself and being out there in the forefront. Because at the end of the day, people want to look at you and say, hey, what is he talking about? Is it positive? Is it something I can be behind? And that's what it's all about for me.
I mean, I also just love the idea of Baltimore getting shine too, and that you're here and that you are expanding in that way. I feel like you probably can relate. And one of the things that's so eye-rolling is when you tell somebody that you're from Baltimore, they're like, oh, The Wire, which is just, okay, great show.
God bless Michael K. Williams.
Yes,
Oh
shout out to Michael K. Williams, for sure. Rest in power. But we are more than The Wire. And I think that you being here and kind of like making that impact not only here but like expanding out is very exciting. But thinking about Baltimore, what would you, instead of somebody's being like, oh, Baltimore, The Wire, what do you think what would you wish somebody would say when you say you're from Baltimore?
Well, I will tell you, the No Picks After Dark party, when I'm going to bring it back, when we did it for here in Baltimore 5 years straight. 5 years. And a lot of my friends had never been to Baltimore until I had the party down here. And the perception was The Wire right away. But after them coming here, they were the first place. Let's go to Fells. Let's go down to Tiki Barge. That's old school. Let's go to Bay Cafe if you know about that. So I'm giving you some old school places to go to, but that's what it was about. And they wanted to see Baltimore. They wanted to see what's. We used to go to the Inner Harbor before Harbor East was around, and just walk around and just take in the environment. And they loved it. They loved Baltimore. And every chance they would get, they would come down to Baltimore and hang out, go to Camden Yards. They would walk around Inner Harbor. They would walk around Federal Hill. They would walk around the Promenade just because they loved Baltimore. So the perception I try to change is just, there's so many other things out here in Baltimore besides Orioles. There's so many other things besides, the Ravens. There are some amazing people. I mean, I had some guys that came on that were my cousins who ran a program in West Baltimore that always gets trashed on the media. But they have a program for kids, their youth. And I had them on the show talking about how they would make sure kids got to school, make sure they got their grades. They would make sure that they would teach them football, the way of life, and show them other things besides Baltimore City West Side. That's what it's about. That's those positive impacts that we're talking about.
I mean, I love that. I mean, obviously, I love Baltimore. We at Creative Mornings celebrate and love Baltimore, so it's great to hear. There's two questions that are kind of similar that I'm going to combine into one. So, slightly building on that question, what is your favorite part about Baltimore, like personally?
Oh, wow. It's the people, man. The people. Nowhere else in Baltimore you get a chicken box. And my friends always make fun of lake trout. They're like, "Where's the lake? Where's the trout?" You know, I mean, I remember. I used to love going to the Roost every Friday night and getting lake trout fish. There's nothing like it. You know, there's nothing like getting peanuts at Lexington Market from the Peanut Man. That's what it's all about. And I'm nostalgic because I remember the 33rd Street and how it used to be. And now it's epicenter of Baltimore. And then everything moved downtown. But I remember those type of things. Those things that when my friends come in town, I take them to Lexington Market. We don't even go to Federal Hill first. We go to Lexington Market.
That's what's up.
Because I want to show them the real Baltimore. Let's not show you the paper cut. I want to show you the real deal. I'm going to take you to get a chicken box. I'm going to take you to Walbrook Junction. I'm going to show you what it's all about Baltimore City. Let's get the real deal. Let's not give you the touristy. I can give you the touristy stuff any day of the week. But I want to show them really the real heart of Baltimore. And now I do take them to the Northeast because I live in the Northeast.
So kind of a follow-up question to that coming from YouTube. Have you found common themes or traits in the creatives you meet in Baltimore?
Just the passion and love for the city. Mm-hmm. The passion and love for the city and what the city means to them and how impactful the city has been and how the cities have a bad name. And we're fighting every day trying to make this a better place for people to come and visit. So that's one of the things that, you know, I did a little segue because I'm about to drop another exclusive for you. I'm dropping a lot of jewels and gems for Creative Mornings right now.
I think we're just going to share a little.
We'll share a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually having
Both are working on and off.
no worries. I'll have them both here. Is that cool?
Use both.
Okay.
So I have exclusive. I'm actually working with Visit Baltimore coming up. And there's a CIAA tournament coming here. And let me tell you, that is off the hook. CIAA is like one big family reunion. And I can't wait to come to Baltimore. And it's going to be huge for Baltimore. Huge. They had it in Charlotte. My sister who's in the audience has gone down there. She loves going down there to CIAAs. And I'm excited that I will be interviewing the commissioner, the CIAA commissioner, in a couple of weeks. So that's coming up. So that's a little jewel and gem. And I also will be interviewing the president of Bowie State University and the president and CEO of Visit Baltimore, Al Hutchinson. And we're going to talk about how Baltimore is going to benefit and why they wanted CIAAs here. So that's a little drop in jewel and gem that's coming up. And I'm excited to work with Visit Baltimore again. I appreciate you guys, working with you guys, because it's always a fun time working with you guys.
Nice. All right. So this one works, maybe?
Maybe.
Hey. Okay, let's just keep passing both of them.
So
Cool. All right. So I think we're actually going to we're going to take one more question from the audience, and then I have a question for you too. And I just saw where to go. Okay, this is coming from Sarah, who's joining us on YouTube. She has a two-part question.
Okay.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever received, and also crabs or crab cakes?
So if you know why I'm laughing, because that's one of my main questions on my podcast. Here's one of the best advice I've ever received. The best advice I've ever received is just keep on pushing. Don't give up. Don't stop, you know, and whatever negative things people might say or do, keep on pushing and thriving and surviving. And I've always been a survivor. Even at my company, I remember when the head executives at my company way back in the day was like, Aaron's a survivor. He knows how to make it work. He'll figure it out. He will never sink or drown. He'll figure a way out. And that's always been my theme. I've always been a survivor. And I know that this podcast is so important to the city. And I'm glad that this podcast has been impactful. And I keep on trying to push the envelope and get better and better at my craft. Crab cakes or crabs? Let's be honest, it's crabs. I mean, crab cakes. Not a lot of places are good crab cakes in Baltimore, but I'm gonna say Coco's, Northeast Baltimore, best crab cake in the city. Shout out, consistent. Yeah, I gotta shout out Northeast because that's what it's about. That's where I live, but I know a lot of them are listening, so they've been there from day one and they've been supporting. So definitely crabs.
That is a damn good crab cake.
It's a great crab cake.
Yeah, so again, I just want to thank you so much, but let's go ahead and I think we have a little video. What's next?
What's next?
And what's
I don't know.
next?
I feel like Drake. I'm really corny on this song, but what's next? I hope you guys check it out. What's next? When are you gonna play it?
Right now.
Let's play it. Let's play it. What's next, folks? Exclusive. Exclusive. Exclusive.
All right, so.
And who her around the same just got into it. So I always bring the heat for the month of. I got like a lot of mics here. I'm just like I don't know what to do. It's all here, but I always try to bring the heat with everybody, and I can't wait to have. I had Brooke, Delegate Brooke Learman on. We're gonna do a part 2 of that. So again, I'm working with a lot of things behind the scenes I can't talk about yet, but I'm excited that it's coming. So I would definitely get on listserv for emails because it's gonna be fire with the pop-ups.
Hey.
Like it's gonna be some crazy stuff where the food's gonna be there. It's gonna be food. It's gonna be drinks, and kids can come. Even better because everybody has kids. Kids can come.
Pandemic babies.
Pandemic babies.
Pandemic babies all around. All right, I got all 4 of our mics now. Hopefully you can hear me. One of these are hopefully working. But Winston, I didn't even cue this up for it, so I'm going to cue up to it now. Next is coming our selfie moment. So Selena and Winston, if we can focus on that tight shot of Aaron again. This is your opportunity at home. Please take your selfie with Aaron. Yeah. And we're looking at over at Winston. So we would love to see what your selfies look like. So please tag us, Baltimore_CM, tag No Pics After Dark. We want to see your selfies. Thank you, for being here. And let's put it on the internet, right? Because it's not on the internet, it doesn't count. So.
They can find me. They want to find me.
Pass all the mics back.
All the mics back. If you want to find me, it's W Pics After Dark. Or dark on Instagram. No Pics After Dark pod on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I don't even like Twitter, but that's cool. I just do it. And if you want to be on the show, shoot me email. Don't DM me. Just shoot me email because I get like 50 DMs a day, and I'm like, nah, we're not gonna go there. But I want to give a shout out to my sponsor first and foremost. Eat Fishnet. This one here.
This one.
Eat Fishnet. Black owned. In Mount Vernon. Shout out. She stuck with me. She's been with me. Love her. Person. Remix Bar and Grill. That's all. 819 East Street. Check guys out. Also, again, Zeke's Coffee. That's my guy. Found Studio. Thank you so much, Found Studio. Charm Sea Craft Mafia. Thank you so much. Indu Wellness Mary. I'm leaving out Maggie's Farm. Abdul, Dana, thank you guys so much. Pipe Wrench from Texas Magazine. Thank you guys so much. Sienna, who all my stuff on, who did all the graphic. Again, the video you just saw was Millennial Marketing. And I am so sorry, but all the love and support.
And shout out to all those companies and individuals. Also, shout out to all the Creative Mornings companies and individuals. This creativity in Baltimore is able to exist because of these companies and people that give and take. Truly, truly, truly. And if you can't monetarily support these businesses and companies and individuals right now, strongly encourage you to just give them a like on social media, follow them, write a nice review on Google. These are all ways that you can support this wonderful, bustling community that we have here in Baltimore. We definitely, we help each other. Be community with your community. I want to, of course, before we get out of here, go ahead and ask you to please For next month, we're going to be coming a little bit the week before the last Friday of the month. So on October 22nd, Iacone, who is the design lead for the Mayor's Office of Performance and Innovation here in Baltimore City, and she will be speaking on the theme of design, very appropriately so. So definitely tune in next month for that. Can't wait. Thank you again, Aaron.
Thank you.
It's been such a delight, a pleasure, an honor.
Hey, we rolled the punches. No mics, we got it.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it.
No mics, all the mics.
Keep it flowing.
Just gonna keep it
No,
flowing.
we're
Yeah.
gonna break it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You all. Let's just go ahead and close it out with some collective breath. This was like low-key stressful, probably for you and us. So let's just take some breaths together. So sit, stand, whatever feels good, lay down, whatever you want. Let's breathe in for 3 breaths. So in and out. Again, in and out. And one more time, in and out. Thank you again for being here with us. We know it can't replace that in real life experience, but we just really, really appreciate you. And go get vaxxed. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.